Hello, this is my Artifact episode number 4088. Today's date is June 6, 2026. It's been almost like a night at 10:44 p.m. Okay. Still, I have a little bit of snore, I in my mouth probably, and because of this thing, I cannot able to be speak properly. Snore means like I'm actually suffering from this ulcer. Okay, ulcer. I don't really have English word for that. We called it मुंह में छाले आ गए या तोंडाला फुरं आले वगैरे something like that. I don't know the English word for that. Okay, it's kind of like some sort of tiny, some sort of kind of like a tumor inside your mouth, and it is pain a lot. I got that tumor on my tongue and on my lips. Okay. I just had a dinner. I just took my medicine. So right now I feel little bit of good, but still when I talk, it's still kind of like somebody just create resistance. That's why right now I'm not really talking that much well. And another thing is that ki it's really required me a lot of effort to talk. Still, I will gonna continue. Why? Because of that ki sometimes it's kind of like a thing that ki if you think that, like, okay, I believe in placebo effect. What's a placebo effect? A placebo effect is that ki you believe that something will not gonna happen, that will not gonna happen, and if you believe something will gonna happen, then that thing will gonna happen. And this is like a it's kind of like a extremely like a work on health profile. Okay, like basically if you think that, or if you believe that ki you have a cancer, even if you don't have a cancer, ultimately you will get the cancer. Yeah, literally. And if you have a cancer and if you think that ki you will become healthy man, you keep believing that, then you will kind of like a become healthy man, obviously with the medicine help. Okay, it's not really that ki you will kind of like recover things, but kind of like a thing is that now the self belief is triggered or accelerate that thing will happen in real life. Okay, so usually is this thing when I'm suffering from something, usually I didn't really suffer like I didn't really have any kind of like a something that health issue. I never really been sick. Like basically last time I went to hospital, like basically it's this thing, just couple of days ago I went to the hospital. But what I'm saying is that ki I never really had any kind of like a somebody that ki very kind of like a very big stuff that I am kind of like a very sick. I didn't really have that. Like the last time I had, when I was when I had a COVID, okay, in 2020. When I had a COVID it was kind of like a very crazy. Like basically I have just fever for at least like a 2-3 days, but then almost like a month I was kind of like isolated um, at my home. Okay, but whatever. But since then I never really kind of like something got sick, and I'm never really like I usually kind of never not get sick because my health is really good. I'm kind of like taking care for my health is really well. By the way, I eat properly, I fix my sleep. Okay, within this 5 year I make sure I sleep for almost like a 7 hour. Usually when I hit my bed, when I kind of like lay down, I just gotta sleep within a 10 minute, within a kind of like a 50 minute. Doesn't really take me that much long. And during the day I am kind of like a simply just completely focus on my work. Obviously sometimes during the day there is a kind of like a lag time that he just kind of like a somebody, but lag time is like that ki I cannot control myself and just like very sleepy sometimes, like after, specifically after I eat my lunch, then after that it's just like a very difficult to be focused. Okay, so at that time I, like usually previously I took a nap for almost like a half an hour or an hour, but I realized that no, nap time is also not really good. I making sure that in the afternoon I will not gonna able to be sleep, or I will not to sleep. It's really essential, because if I sleep at afternoon, then I will not gonna sleep at night. So definitely I'm making sure that I will not gonna sleep at afternoon. Okay, so after I eat my lunch, I feel like a lot of kind of like a tired or things and that. So in that period of time, I am making sure that I will listen some music, or kind of like a pump up, or maybe comedy skit. Comedy skit would be kind of like a much more better, because a comedy skit is a kind of like a simply that key, like a add little bit of fun. You will kind of like a laugh and things and that. So whatever the kind of like a sleep that you have might gonna go on. Okay, so this is kind of like a, it work for me. Everyone have a kind of like a different kind of like a stuff. For me, stand-up comedy work when I have that thing, but I'm making sure that I will not gonna sleep, and because of this thing my sleep cycle is completely fixed. Okay, and my dinner, lunch, food also really good. I do run 30 minutes so really well. So because of all those things, my health is a kind of like a really good. So that's why I never really got that much sick, or I never really been had that many kind of like a fever or things, nothing really at all. Okay, touch wood by the way. Okay, then yeah, that is what I'm saying. Like what I'm saying, like nothing really. I don't know why am I kind of like saying this. I'm kind of like saying my health is really good, but yeah. I'm talking about the placebo effect. Yeah, so placebo effect is that na ki usually whatever you kind of like a believe, that belief is actually happening. Specifically in health, it actually work even more faster. Yeah, because health is a kind of like a somewhat something connected with your body, specifically connected with your mind. And if you believe that something will gonna happen, then it might gonna happen. So I always believe that I will not gonna get sick, I will not gonna get sick, so I will not gonna get sick. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like some sort of placebo effect. Okay, why am I kind of like focusing on health so much? Let me tell you one thing. Okay, I have pact with myself. Okay, yeah, like a promise to myself that ki I have to be live for at least like 100 year. Yeah, 100 year. Like yeah, literally, I wanted to live for 100 year. Okay, that's a very wild. First of all, why you wanted to live for 100 year? Yeah, I believe, or maybe I don't know, but in the future in my life I have to be do so many stuff, so many things. It's not really that yeah, I am kind of like somebody that ki, I don't know, I have kind of like some sort of instinct, and for that instinct I don't know, I just wanted to live for 100 years. I don't know, like this is kind of like a stuff that I will gonna do. So for this, if I wanted to live for 100 year, I have to be kind of like a add habit, or such a habit, kind of like a healthy habit. Okay, so that's why I run every single day. That's why I sleep 7 hour every day. Okay, that's why I didn't really sleep at afternoon. That's why I have a kind of like a proper meal. Okay, usually right now I don't really have gym because I can't afford gym, but I do run. Okay, but when I will afford the gym, I will kind of like do the gym. Okay, a gym means not for kind of like in the shape, no, definitely not. I wanted to do the gym for kind of like as much as healthy as possible. Okay, yeah, so that I would supposed to be live longer. Like this is kind of like a motto of my gym, not to become in shape. Shape is a kind of like a part of the process too. Okay, it's not really that he, like I don't want six pack. No, it's nothing really at all. It's never really been my ambition to have a six pack. But still, is this thing that ki I believe in kind of like a long term goal, and my long term goal to live for 100 years. Okay. uh Meal, regarding about meal, I consume whatever the kind of like a mother makes it. Okay. And anda, egg are very much essential. I, because of this summer is actually happening, so that's why my mother kind of like told me not to bring anda. So I'm not kind of like eating any kind of like anda or egg. uh, After when the monsoon will gonna start, I will kind of like continue getting eggs. Okay. uh, yeah, these are kind of like a things. Okay. Why, like, I have to be do these things right now? Why am I kind of like saying this thing? Because of that na ki I know that in the future I will have very hectic life, and one of the biggest challenge is that time management. Because I have to do so many things, I will be responsible for so many stuff. My time is a very valuable for me, and because of this thing I might not get time for myself. Yeah, literally. Okay. There are a couple of things that I have to do it. Okay. Yeah, like exercise essential. Okay. Yeah, artifact. Okay, artifact is very essential. I wanted to record artifact twice in a day, in the morning and in the night. Okay. These are kind of like a things that kept me insane, kept me kind of like a person that I wanted to become. And for that particular purpose, like I don't know why am I kind of like saying this thing, but what I realized that now from future point of perspective, if I'm kind of like a became really habitual, like habitual of like running 30 minutes, like right now I'm running for almost like a 4 year. Okay. And running is became my habit. I'm kind of like really good at 30-minute non-stop. I could able to be run very easily. I wanted to incorporate, and I wanted to continue this habit for lifelong. Okay. If I'm being continuously running, it will kind of like add so much amount of value in me. I feel so much amount of value when I kind of like after I run, after I showered, when I came sit in front of my desk, I feel really good. I got very beautiful sleep. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of like a things. But dude, like these are all fine by the way, but like a living 100 year, that's a like that's kind of like a thing that is too much. Well, like I'm not saying that's too much. It's a kind of like a thing. Okay, let me tell you. Okay, yeah. Average life expectancy, probably my average life expectancy, if I kind of like follow this routine and things and that for rest of the lifetime, na, then obviously I will cross century. Definitely I will gonna cross century. Okay. But I have to make sure, like I have to be kind of like a make sure that na ki my consistency is really good, and that's what I'm kind of like believing, that ki consistency, that is the one thing I'm really good at. I'm not really a smart person, but I have kind of like a one thing good at, exactly consistency. So I believe in that. So if I kept running 30 minutes, if I kept doing the gymming artifact and things and that, then probably I'm pretty sure I will gonna cross century. Okay. There are external factors too, probably, and because of external factor I can't control. What's the external factor? External factor means like that ki suddenly I got accident or someone might gonna kill me, then probably I will not gonna cross the century. But these are external problem, I can't control that. Okay. But the internal problem I could able to control, fixing my health, making sure that I will kind of like make sure exercise and things and that. So yeah, this is I will gonna do. Okay. Yeah, health is a very much essential, dude. Like basically this thing now, what's the one of the kind of like a valuable thing on this planet you might consider as a diamond or gold or things and that. Well, basically yeah. Okay, like these are also really valuable, but what kind of like a value if you don't have time for it? Okay. My real value is come from happiness. Happiness come from the people, and spending time with the people require a time. I don't really have a time. Yeah, literally, I don't really have a time. Okay, so basically, that's why I'm kind of like focusing on health and things. I don't know what I'm saying that right now. It sounded so stupid, but yeah, this is my kind of like a promise that key I will kind of like a live for a century. Okay, yeah, I will gonna die after 2093. Okay, after I cross century, then probably, then fine. Well, let me tell you one thing. Now, my grandfather actually kind of like died at the age of 93. Yeah, literally. My father, my father might not gonna survive. Yeah, like my father kind of like take a lot of stress and things and that. Probably they will gonna die after they will gonna die 85, 90 in between. My mother might gonna survive, like I don't know, she might gonna die too probably. Okay, yeah, because of stress and things and that. Okay, uh, but I have to believe for century. Yeah, that is true. All right, basically is this saying I am not kind of like a, like I don't know why, but I'm kind of like just recording just kind of like a chill artifact. Okay, from last, like from couple of days I will continue with this kind of like assembly stuff. Right now I'm kind of like a pretty much kind of like a bore regarding about asking this kind of like assembly that key, um like a like artifact question and things and that, because how many questions there are almost like a maybe 10, 20, 30, yeah, almost like a 35 questions are still remaining, and most of those questions are kind of like a somewhat something like a, yeah, but I have to be continue. Okay, yeah, these are kind of questions are really essential for artifact. Okay, yeah, first of all, why am I kind of like asking this artifact question to myself? Specific understanding, like a simple thing is that na key for understanding that what might gonna future consequences and things and that. So yeah, for that particular purpose, whatever, I will gonna continue this question. Okay, yeah, the question is that how will you ensure the fast streaming? Okay, yeah, so this is kind of like a question. Let's just continue this question. Okay, yeah, okay, what is at least this question and why am I asking this question to myself? I wanted to build an application called My Artifact. What exactly is this application? When you write the diary every single time, you cannot able to be write the diary the way that you want it to. Why? Because of your writing is really required a lot of effort. You need a pen, you need a paper, you need a convenience, and even after that you need to put lot of effort to print your thoughts. But even after you put a lot of effort, you cannot able to print your thought, because after you put all those effort, your writing speed is much more slower than your thought process. And because of this thing, very less people are kind of like a writing a diary. But what if I'm gonna say, instead of writing a diary, what if we could record a diary, like an audio recorded diary? The audio recorded diary I called artifact. The stuff that you are kind of like listening right now, this is my artifact. My artifact episode number 4088. I am doing this thing for past 11 year. I am doing this thing every single day. Because of this thing, it adds so much amount of value in myself. Writing a diary is a self-reflection process. Also, recording diary and recording artifact is also self-reflection process too. Okay. The amount of value it add in me, I wanted to share this value to the people. How do I supposed to share this value? By building an application. My application is somewhat something like a YouTube platform. In the YouTube, people kind of like simply upload your video, other people kind of like sees your video. Same thing, you have to record your artifact, other people kind of like listen your artifact. Before I wanted to build this application, I wanted to aware all the possible consequences. Okay, so that I would be much more aware and I would be supposed to be fix those problem. Okay, So that's why I went to ChatGPT. I tell my idea regarding about my application, and also tell him that he suggests me at least like a hundreds of all the possible question regarding about this application, specifically possible worst possible consequences. ChatGPT kind of like suggests me hundreds of question. This is one of those question. Now regarding about this question, the question says, how will you ensure the fast streaming? Well, probably I don't really have to be worried about that fast streaming, because the world that we are living right now is very fast. Oh yeah, like a 5G technology are actually exist everywhere. No, no, not everywhere, dude. Like Europe, US, India, maybe kind of like a China, Southeast country, where they might have. Africa, they might not have that 5G network and things and that. Whatever, like basically is this thing na ki I wanted to make sure that na ki people are not kind of like simply waiting for loading all the time, because if the people are continuously loading for all the time, then it just not work out. Okay, yeah, because it just kind of like simply reduce the kind of like a something the reduce the people will not gonna like basically if the people kind of like a click, like let's just say you kind of like a click the YouTube video, and YouTube video will not gonna play, or YouTube kind of like a loading, then you might not gonna watch, you might gonna close the YouTube. There is a one specific case study I wanted to kind of like a tell you. I was kind of like a somebody watching a Amazon documentary. Okay, yeah, and this is kind of like very crazy. Okay, so why does kind of like somebody Amazon is one of the most e-commerce website all around the planet? Why? Okay, like before the Amazon there is a eBay. Okay, for the e-commerce website. E-commerce website means like that you could kind of like sell your product. Okay, so what I'm saying is that how does Amazon is kind of like a became one of the most, like basically they are kind of like providing their services almost like a almost entire planet, literally. Not they might not serve in China probably. Okay, but they might serve, I'm not really sure, but they might serving like so many countries. Okay, one of the beautiful thing that I knew about the Amazon when I watched the documentary, the CEO of the Amazon, uh, who is the name? I know his name. His name. Dude, you forget the CEO of the Amazon. No, I knew his name. His name is okay. CEO of Amazon. Oh, what? Andy Jassy is the president of chief executive officer. No, not. What the? Google is actually Andy Jassy is a. I'm Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Okay. Jeff Bezos is a founder. Okay. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Jeff Bezos is a CEO of the company, but sorry, he is not a CEO right now. He is a founder. He is a executive chairman. Okay. What is at least this thing? Okay. CEO means like that a person who kind of like lead the company. Usually, the founder is a kind of like a person who kind of like lead the company, but because of the James Bezos is founder the company, and he kind of like a something leading this company since 2002 to right now, almost like a 26 year. Okay, so obviously he will retire. Okay, and he will become a kind of like a founder. Okay, yeah, a kind of like a something like a less thing, like a CEO is kind of like a very hectic position, whatever. Okay, so what I'm saying is that now what is actually the fact that I found about James Bezos from the Amazon. So um, the the James Bezos is a kind of like a found that most of the user are not buying product from Amazon. I'm talking about probably kind of like in 2007, it probably specifically in US, Europe. Okay, yeah. So why not people are kind of like a buying the product in Amazon? So the James Bezos, Jeff Bezos is kind of like a figure it out why. What is actually reason? Are those product are not nice? So no, product is really good. They wanted to buy the product. Then why are not they buying product? What is actually reason? So basically, is this thing that key when they kind of like the process of buying the product is very lengthy. First of all is that they like the product, they click on that product, then they place the product in that place. Then you have to kind of like write down your name, address, credit card details, everything, then press. After you press, then it went back to the payment. Then in the payment you kind of like do the payment things and after the payment the order is actually placed. Okay, and after the order place it will kind of like arrive after maybe a week or things and that. What I'm saying is that ki the user are kind of like getting lot of kind of like something resistance to proceed to buy some sort of stuff. First of all they have to kind of like put the name and things and that credit card details and lot of stuff. Okay, every time user they don't want, like it's a kind of like a create the resistance. Okay, yeah, if you add so much amount of resistance, then people will not gonna buy even if the product is so good and things and that. If the user wanted to buy, but they will not gonna buy because this is a very lengthy process. So Amazon, Jeff Bezos is kind of like did something very crazy. First of all is that he they make sure that the user details is already saved even with the card details too. Okay, yeah. So what you have to do is that you just have to click the product, you really love the product, you just directly buy the product. Literally you just click buy, all the kind of like a detail already filled, everything actually filled. Okay, yeah, you just have to make the payment and after the payment done. So basically before it will take almost like a 25 clicks to buy the product, but Jeff Bezos make sure that within a 3 clicks people the user kind of like a buy the product, which is very good. Like they didn't really change the product, they didn't really change the website, they just changed the process, make it much more easier, and they make very much easier. And when they make it really good, but the result they didn't really get it. Yeah, the result that they are kind of like expecting that key user will kind of like a buy, they will not gonna buy that much. Like there is a little bit of improvement is actually happening, but people are not buying it. Jeff Bezos is kind of like a really frustrated, like why does user are not buying the product? Then people are kind of like realize that ki the most of the problem is actually happened because of internet speed. I'm talking about in 2007 2009, by the way, at that period of time where 2G 3G is not even available. Probably maybe in Europe, your US probably available, but very less. Okay, yeah, at that time it was a GPRS. Okay, yeah, like right now we are actually experiencing 5G 6G. In 2007 6 or maybe 2009 probably, in that period of time they have a GPRS, is a maybe kind of like a lesser version of 1G. Okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, so the biggest problem is that key the site takes too much amount of time to load. Okay, yeah. And why does site take too much amount of time to load? What exactly is this thing? Now at that time Amazon doesn't really have any kind of like a server. Like right now Amazon have a lot of kind of like a server. Like basically right now they are kind of like a serving Amazon web server, but at that time they might not have, I'm not really sure regarding about but they at that time they don't really have. They are kind of like a rely on kind of like external things and internet cables and things and that. Okay, so basically it was kind of like too much. Okay, and at that time they wanted to increase the speed, but how they should supposed to be. Okay, yeah, because satellite is very less. Cable, the most of the internet is actually happen through cable connection. So it was kind of like a lot of things. So what did the day like what does Jeff Bezos does they did something very crazy. Okay, so instead of kind of like a making sure that full site will gonna load, like a basically what is actually happened when the user click on the buy button, they kind of like a shifted to the next page, and in that next page there is a multiple kind of like a details regarding about your thing, then rest of the kind of like something like a lot of stuff. Okay, yeah, like basically okay, let me tell you one thing what exactly happened. Okay, so when the user buy the product, next dialog box came. In that next dialog box, the product, user detail, card detail. Okay, yeah, these are kind of like important stuff, but another unessential stuff are also there, like you might like this product too. Okay, yeah, and this is kind of like a very heavy, like because of this kind of like unnecessary stuff, unnecessary kind of like a things are actually available in the payment page. Because of this thing, site takes so much amount of time to load, and when the site take too much amount of time to load, people will not gonna buy the stuff. So basically what does Amazon people does, they kind of like remove those unnecessary element. Like when the people buy the product, they make sure that the site is as much as minimalistic, as much as clean, as much as kind of like somebody very clean interface. Okay, yeah, do not have too many kind of like images and things and text and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, if the size of the site is little less, then it was kind of like a very easy to load or very quick to load. So they did that. They make sure that key when the user click on the buy button, the next window is actually open. That window is a kind of like a very easy to load, because it's a nothing really at all, just a product detail and the user detail and the proceed further, and that's it. Okay, so because of this thing, they are kind of like somebody making sure that key the user will kind of like do it very fast. Okay, yeah, and then after that they will kind of like improve in the internet. They will kind of make sure that they, after every click, the next page will gonna open within a second. They have kind of like somebody 1 second rule. I'm not really sure about this exact thing, but like basically the Jeff Bezos is kind of like a really focus on detail. They wanted to make sure that when the user click on anything, the next window will gonna appear within a second. And this is kind of like a things, and still Amazon actually work. Like basically you open the Amazon, you click, within a second next image actually up, or next dialog box actually open, which is a kind of like a huge detail, like a huge improvement. Because at that time, I'm talking about 2010 2011, and in that period of time, people actually focusing on Internet Explorer and things and that. Okay, yeah, and they know how much kind of like assembly time consuming and things and that. But Amazon, they are kind of like focusing on their product. They are kind of like making sure their site is kind of like as easy, as convenient and things and that. Yeah. So yeah, so because of this kind of like a case study, I realized that how much Jeff Bezos is a kind of like somebody really crazy for every small and tiny details. And I have to be doing this thing, because if I wanted to build this application, I wanted to make sure that Artifact will gonna listen from all around the world. Like basically in the US, they might have kind of like a fastest internet on the planet, but also if the user is actually from the Africa, they might not have internet, or maybe kind of like have an internet of kind of like very crappy. I'm gonna make sure that Artifact will gonna load as much faster as it possible. Okay, yeah. I don't know about the kind of like how I supposed to do this thing. It's a very technical kind of like some technical thing. but I'm gonna make sure that I will gonna do this thing with kind of like a minimize my interface as much as possible. Also kind of like a make sure that when the user click, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this thing. Probably maybe each artifact is actually stored in packets, just kind of like a 2 second of packet, and when the user start playing, so within a 2 second I will gonna download the rest of, or maybe kind of like a compress the audio file. I don't know, but probably I'm gonna make sure that this will not gonna happen. I don't want people should supposed to be kind of like looking at the loading screen and things. I don't want that thing. So I will gonna fix it. Okay, yeah. So this is it. Listen. Okay, I'm really tired. I'm really kind of like a hurting lot of stuff. Like when I'm talking now, this tongue is whatever. This is it. I have to bend here. Thank you.